This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Navarro ready to join us here in our Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes report. How you feeling, Manny? You doing good out there?
Doing great, I mean, I know it was a rough first half, a lot of boos as the second quarter struggles, but I thought they finished the game on a strong note, especially the offensive line. Really, I thought dominated, took over, which was a good sign.
Wait a minute, but I'm hold on a second, bro. The coach's shirt was all sweaty and stuck to him, and you're fresh and shit. What's going on, man?
I'm smart enough to stay inside. I'm in the press box. Okay. Come on, man. Come on.
Okay, I get it now. I get it now. Well, I would imagine you're going to write one game story, and then you're going to write another one completely about the secondary.
Yeah, it was a pretty rough day out there. I mean, continue to give up some big plays. DJ Ivey should have had that pick there in the second half. Not a good play on his part, but look, the defense in the end shut down the running game, which is basically what Southern Miss was all about coming in here. So they took away one element, but we'll have to see how this group kind of continues to go. If they start making some plays, or if they keep giving up a few big plays down the field like they have in the first two games.
Mike?
No, I echo your sentiments exactly. I just I like the adjustment by whatever the coaches said. I was wondering how many obscenities were said in the halftime there by Mirabal and Coach Cristobal concerning the offensive line play. But I think we found out the identity that Miami is trying to establish offensively. They saw some adversity and they leaned on the run to get things going in the second half. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I was saying, up in the press box that if this is the style that they're going to play, right, which is kind of like that old school Alabama physical football, right, just line up and with some extra blocking tight ends like Inez Cooper, who's 6'6", 355 pounds. If you're gonna take that approach, you could probably win the Coastal Division playing that way. What you can't do is just give up the big plays like they did in the first half and struggle the way they did offensively. I mean, Tyler Van Dyke. It's probably the worst game I've seen him play since maybe his first start, that first half against Virginia a year ago. I mean, just off from the get-go, missing open guys. Should have been intercepted probably 3 times. So they had two drops on picks. So, I think if they want to be a running team, if you can, get behind Henry Parrish Jr., Thad Franklin, and a healthy Jalen Knight, whenever that happens, you could probably still win this division just being a running team the way that they were in the second half.
Malik Shorts, by the way, all by himself is better than the entire secondary of not the safeties, of course, because they've got pretty good safety. Those corners are just absolutely. Let me run something by you because I was going to use this as a topic for the post game show. So I understand that you come in and you want to establish your system, right? But the problem is it's hard to implement a system when you don't have the players. And I remember when Jimmy took over for Shula and he wanted to run the Dallas offense. The only problem was he didn't have a Dallas line. He didn't have maulers. He had more finesse players because they were a passing offense. And yet you wanted to run the Dallas offense, and here's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar getting 3 yards to carry and scoring 1-yard touchdowns. So you really couldn't – you didn't have Emmett and you didn't have the line. So I'm watching you try to play your offense all half, and you're kind of struggling. But then the second you go to no huddle, boom, it explodes. Why? Because the talent you inherited is no huddle. So why not incorporate more of that early on, even though that's not your DNA? I get it's not your DNA. And I know you can also say, well, in the second half, they started to punch him in the mouth. And Henry Parrish was the ghoul. And he was scaring them in the second half. I get all of that, but it ignited them a little bit more. And to their credit, at least they implemented it to change the pace. But maybe that's something that they may have to reach for a little earlier to ignite this offense sometimes. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's certainly something that maybe they were saving for Texas A&M. Part of this is you don't want to show everything, right? In your first 2 games, you got to leave something for the imagination the next game. And so I think that's probably part of the reason why we didn't see that. But that could very well be the case. especially if you're going to be running the ball this successfully, right? Where all of a sudden you switch in the middle of that from pounding a team over and over again to, hey, we're going to hurry up now. We're going to make your tired defensive players even more tired. It's going to be tough for them to get off the field. So I think without question, yeah, you want to have a changeup. You want to have something you can go to. And I think, one thing we saw today was Tyler Van Dyke hold on to the ball a lot. He wasn't getting rid of the ball very quickly. If you're going to run that hurry up, you're going to have to do quick sort of short passes, get the ball out fast, and just try to move down the field as fast as you can. I think part of it today was a little bit of running a vanilla offense to not show too much for next week.
I'm just wondering, Manny, and thanks for everything that you're doing in the locker room for us. In the post-game press conference. But Gaddis was known for using his tight ends a lot in Michigan, and Miami fans were big on that because what we have here in that tight end room. But if you can't, block with 5, how much of that goes away if you have to bring in another tight end to block? And then you're going to have to be leading on receivers. Shout out to Reading X. They had nice games, that flea flicker and everything. But, taking the tight ends out of the receiving game because they're going to have to maybe use one or both to block. I mean, that changes things a lot for Gaddis's and his wanting to use tight ends. I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, there could be some limitations here. I think one thing that was evident in the first half was you didn't see a lot of separation, right? Part of the reason Tyler Van Dyke was holding on to the ball for so long was guys weren't getting open. So I think that's going to be an issue going forward. You talk about having to save the tight ends, leave them in there to block. I mean, this might just be Miami's best offense. It might just be the way they have to win games this year, grounding and pounding and keeping the other offense off the field because it's clear their defense is still going to give up some big plays. So this might just have to be the strategy this year. Again, will it work to win the Coastal? I think so. I think it's a strategy you can use for those games. Is it going to win you a national championship? Can it get you the playoff? No. But for right now, I mean, the first step is winning the division.
I mean, a follow-up to that.
You could be. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead with the follow-up.
I was just going to say a follow-up to that is, I guess it's kind of a gift and a curse because we know what happens if it's going to continue to ground and pound, get 4 or 5 a carry, and then you're going to eventually get one over the top with someone.
Well, we saw that with the Keyshawn Smith flea flicker, right? I mean, they kind of set him up with the drive before, 10 runs and 10 runs out of the 13 plays that they ran.
Yep.
I think the press conference is going to be starting here soon, so I'm just giving you guys a heads up, But yeah, I think you can use a lot of stuff off of play action.
Okay. All right, there you go. Manny Navarro. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. He'll have a complete wrap up there at The Athletic. And of course, you can catch him throughout the week on the platform. Manny, as always, appreciate you, my brother. Go do your thing, man. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks. Have a good show.
You got it. There we go. Manny Navarro live from Hard Rock Stadium prior to the Mario Cristobal press conference. We hope to have.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.